Morning, everybody.
Morning,
What's
good
up?
morning. What's up, peeps? What's up? What's happy Friday? Happy Veterans Day as well to all my vets out there. We joining in with you, celebrating your service, your sacrifice. We do appreciate it. We can't be a free country without you guys standing on the wall. We need you on that wall because they can't handle the truth if you don't know nothing about their military service. they can't, they can't handle it. But we appreciate you guys chiming in. What's up, Charlene? Another happy Friday.
Yes, another happy Friday. And as I was talking with you in the back, that not only thank you for your service,
Yeah.
but I wanted to. I was very shocked, but not too shocked. Just shocked that again, I had to learn about another group of Black military soldiers in the Marines that were not really recognized, if at all, and they were the Montford Point Marines. So they're doing a mission because there's a documentary out. They're doing a mission where they are looking for the originals, the remainder of the originals, and their families, so they can properly give them their gratitude, their flowers, all of that. So yeah, that was just a good story that I learned about too today. So I can't wait to finish watching the documentary. But yes, sir. Thank you for your service, sir.
Wow. Yes, thank you. And thank you to everyone out there, the services. I will be sending out my Veterans Day posts on all my social media pretty soon. Just want to definitely keep you guys in. Those are still in harm's way. Those are still all over there protecting our borders in different parts of the country. Definitely want you guys to stay safe. And for the family members, because a lot of times they get forgotten in the midst of that. And it's always the isolation and celebration or mourning of the individual that is actually serving, but their family serves as well. I was fortunate enough, if you can call it that, to not be married or have children on doing my 10-year service. So I was kind of like there alone, but I did have family that was always wondering and making sure and praying that I got back home safely. So we definitely want to remember you guys as well as celebrating you as well for what you do to the country. All right,
Here,
now,
here,
wow,
here.
that's it.
And
That's it.
let's give a shout out one more time. Like I said, the beginning of the month, we rounded down our 2022 sponsors. We want to
Yes.
make sure that we give them their love and their acknowledgement. And we're going to kick it off with the amazing duo of Russ and Scott. They have a live business mastermind group that really, if you know you need some help, you need some encouragement, you need an accountability system, head on over to russhedge.com so you can register to be part of the live business mastermind group and get that group love that will help you understand how to really use live streaming for your business. A lot of times people just do live streams, they don't know how to connect their business to it, or they have a business and not sure how to integrate live streaming into it. So make sure that you have that and be a part of a group that can help you really hash things out and make a better understanding for yourself and make a move for your business. And we have also Martin Pratt. Tell them about our amazing friend Martin Pratt as well.
My man Martin Parry, y'all know it. Y'all been hearing us talk about it for quite a while this year. Go and check them out. TheBlackToolbox.com. It is the ultimate in tools that help you succeed in your business and how to utilize them to incorporate a network and get yourself involved. Not only that, if the title scares you, don't worry about it. Gift it for someone. And what they'll get with that is, which is phenomenal as well. They get an autographed copy of that, and they also entitle you to a personal consultation with Martin, and he can give you the insights on how to utilize the book, how to utilize the tools that he's presented in there, and how to make yourself more effective with your business and how to provide success in the things that you do, touching communities that you may not have been able to touch before. So go get it, theblacktoolbox.com. Mr. Martin Pratt, we're looking forward to soon be on New York Times bestseller list, right? Go get it.
Yes, and it's the season to give. So gift yourself a clarity session with either myself or Mr.
Yeah.
Vulnerability himself. Mr. Vulnerability, tell him about your clarity session.
Yes, yes. I am down to two. Someone signed up for one on yesterday. So that is what it is. They're trying to get ready so they can be more effective, more efficient, and more of a leader and example in 2023. So the clarity session is still open. We got 2 sessions left that you can sign up for. Scan the QR code right there. Go to bevulnerable.club and definitely know that everything you want is right on the other side of vulnerability because leadership needs an example. And who would be a greater example than you? Once you get empowered to know who you truly are, you can leave from a place of where you truly want to go. So definitely go sign up for that today. Let's get you ready for 2023.
Yes, and as you get your leadership skills together and your mindset right, make sure that you also get your website right. So sign up for the last few sessions for me to get your website strategy together. BrooklynCustomDesigns.com/strategy. That's BKLYN customdesigns.com/strategy. If you're watching this on a laptop, scan the QR code so you can book your session today. So only a few spots left as well, and we're closing everything out, and we're going to start everything brand new and different. 2023 is going to change. So make sure that you're a part of that change as well. And let's get into today's talk where we
Do
getting into balancing vulnerability in networking. Tell the
it.
folks what you were thinking about when you came up with this.
Well, when I came up with, I've done a couple of presentations and a couple of speakings, and I kept getting over and over again, especially with the time that we're in. People are online, people are opening themselves up, they're letting conversations flow between people they've never seen before or dealt with. So they're a little apprehensive about sharing such things, such as it should be. You should be, right? So when you're on there networking and you're giving information out and you kind of like sharing things that you normally would not share to someone else. I started getting a lot of questions about that. I said, well, maybe we need to talk about how to balance that vulnerability in networking and how we understanding that in networking you are exposed, period. Whether you want to use the term vulnerability or not, you're exposed. So the avenue, what I've learned and what I figured out from just because I've just been on social media really the past 3 years, to be honest with you, where I've been in depth, following, tagging, posting, that kind of thing, right? Opening up accounts that I've never had before, putting in information that was not available to other people before. But then I thought about it. I'm not going to live in a bubble, right? I'm going to use the things that's there to protect me. I'm going to balance in what I share, and then I'm going to network cautiously, right? And you say, well, how can I network cautiously when I'm talking to everybody and we're sharing information? Well, we're going to go through some ways that you can do that, and we're also going to let you understand that in balancing the vulnerability, there comes a piece to the authenticity that you must share for others to get overcome, for others to overcome. That's what's going to bring you joy. That's what's going to bring you safety in your own mind. And you're going to learn how to do that intentionally and strategically, right? That's roll. What's
Yes,
up,
and
Will? One of my favorite peeps. What's up, Will? Well, I ain't gonna say
and
we coming up to New York, Will. I ain't gonna say it, Will. I ain't gonna say it, Will.
what he say? He not coming to
I
New
say
York. You see
no.
this,
I say
Will?
no. I say I ain't gonna say Will. What's up? We coming up to New York because Will be throwing me them. He be throwing me them DMs like, "Yo, let's go, let's go." I'm in Manhattan. Let's get this coffee on.
Yes, let's put fire to his feet. Let's put fire to his feet,
Mm,
Will.
mm.
And hello, Carol. What's going
Carol, what's
on?
up?
Hey, I know
Thank
Carol.
you guys for tuning in to us this morning. Thank you guys. That's CW. I
Yes.
love that CW. That's my initials. I love that. I
Oh
love that.
Lord. Let's jump into the myth that you have about being balancing this vulnerability. And you saying being vulnerable brings more criticism than connections.
Yeah, this is for all my people saying, I don't want to be vulnerable because people going to talk about me. Well, what you're doing in the essence of that, you're cutting out the connection lane. And that's really what it is. So being more vulnerable, it does not bring criticism. What it is, and we dive into that criticism just a little bit here because I don't want to go too far off the pod with that. When you talk about that criticism, right, more times than not, you are criticizing yourself for what you think you not versus
Hmm.
someone actually seeing you and talking about you, right? You can only criticize things that's done or not done, or things that's said or not said. So when you go into it with the mindset of that, oh, if I be vulnerable, which is just exposing more of yourself to people, I'm going to bring on more criticism. The criticism comes from those who aren't empowered in their own lives. A lot of times when you see people pointing out things in you, that's what they're lacking in their life. And whatever that may mean, or whatever that may mean to them, you are shining something that's called, like my dad used to say, you shine a reflection of who they ain't. So when you start being empowered by the person that you are, you'll start seeing a lot of people jealous of that. No, they won't admit it. They won't say it to you, but there's things in you that they see that they know they should be doing or they don't have the ability to do and want to do. So when I think about criticism, right, there can be some good criticism. I know we always say constructive criticism. That's in the eye of the beholder and the one that's talking, right? Because you know if somebody's criticizing you, whether it's constructive or not. You know you can get their motive behind it when they're the language that they're using, the tone that they setting when they're talking about it. You know if it's something constructive in that way, you can walk away from it and say, leaders like to do that a lot. I'll give you some constructive criticism. They love to use those terms, right? Because they marry them together, so your little feelings won't get hurt when they start talking about your stuff negatively. But I've never had any criticism that's been given to me that they put constructive in the front of it, and I took something out of it. It just didn't work like that because that wasn't the intention. It's just a cover up. But when you are being vulnerable and you're not worrying about the criticism, you make more connection because what you do is you open the door to people that's trying to be genuine and authentic with you. And you've also given them an opportunity and a space to say, yo, I can be this way with him. So they can't be that way with anyone else, but you've opened up a connection that no other person has with this individual. And that is what I mean by it's a myth because we often fall into the negativity, right? Whether we want to or not, negativity sells. It gets publicity. It gets, when you turn on the news, I don't hear them say somebody paid for 200 students to go to college. That's not the first story. I don't hear them say, "Oh, somebody saved such and such from whatever it is." Those are not the first stories. The first stories are, "Oh, 300 people got shot today. 16 kids got shot at the school." Those are the stories there. So we kind of mesh to that negativity piece, not because it's fun to hear, because we morbid in that sense, right? Humans are. But don't break off your connections. Don't let the criticism of what they say that they're not affect how you are and how you generally are with people.
And most times, you also, unfortunately, you have a lot of people who can witness and be a part of or victims to microaggressions being passed as criticisms. Those kind of things, or what did you say? Uh, Constructive criticism. There really be those are oftentimes like a little microaggression. They trying to take a jab sometimes, and you could tell, like you said, you could tell the difference. But when it comes to making those connections through criticism, what do you think? Is it just because you're open and you're vulnerable, telling that there's something at a flaw that you have, or there's a flaw of connecting? What is really the what's really that glue that allows people to say, okay, let's do a deeper connection? And what is that looking like? What can people expect when they're getting that criticism, or they're trying to give criticism or give feedback? What is that looking like or shaped out to be?
Oh, the connection piece of that is the genuineness of what you share, and you'll feel that. I when I first start talking to people and I really open up as an icebreaker, my icebreaker is not so much as an introduction. My icebreaker is I normally get everybody's attention when I say everyone in this room is smart. There's no one in this room that I'm in that's not intelligent. So I won't play with your intelligence by telling you something that you don't want to hear. And I normally break it up with that, and I normally kind of set at ease with that because people want their egos to be stroked, right? I don't care whether you humble or whatever. Your ego being stroked is great for you. The criticism comes about through the connections of how you build on that and how you move toward that, how you feel about you. Let's go back. Let's kind of reverse the track. All of that is essential to how you move, how you take the vulnerability, where the criticism come from, how you're empowered by it. I got a statement on my website that said I've taken the bricks that was thrown at me to build my foundation. That's literally saying everybody that had something bad to say about me, I took it and used it. Everybody that had a problem with the way I moved, I grabbed it and used it. And I put it in the form of bricks because oftentimes people throw criticism at you. That's pretty much what they're doing.
Hmm.
That's what they're doing. They're throwing bricks at you. So the visual of that is every brick you throw, I'm catching and I'm making a foundation on which I'm going to stand on. So what that does to you, they give you empowerment to be able to deal with it because people are going to come to you with that vein of constructive criticism. They always do. And I don't know who put those two together. I can go back to me having a real bad time of saying How we put two words together that mean totally opposite things and put them together to marry them to make them mean something. It just amazes me. Constructive and criticism, they are both opposites, parallel opposites, right? So how can you put them together and say, okay, this is a term? But that's for another day. That's on my English class 101. But when you're talking about building the connections, the truth is behind who the individual is. So I've learned to say, okay, this is what I've done, this is who I am, this is where I've been, and this is what is I've overcome. That is Carl. So I can't change any of that. Only thing that I can change is how I'm going to react to what's been in the past, how I'm going to perform for my future, and what is going to be the outcome of the things I deal with right now. So that's put me in the past, present, and that's put me past, present, and future with that action. And that is how you build the connections. Yes, you may connect with someone that has done something that you've done in the past and you've overcame because you're not in that state. So you have ammunition, so to speak, to give to them so they can fight their battle. And that is the key to being vulnerable in things that you've overcome. It's just really sharing the things that you went through, what you took to overcome them, because you know what you went on through, what you took to overcome them, how you came out on the other side. That is the hope for someone else. That's what draws us in connections.
Okay, good. And I think with that, we can definitely jump into the first step that can you can take as an action step of networking outside the norm, balancing vulnerability and networking. Now, especially, I saw a great comment from Andy. She said this is extremely valuable, especially for those impacted by the meta layoffs and they're being thrown back into networking. Now they're pretty much in a vulnerable state, right? So
Yeah.
how can they balance the vulnerability while they're networking? And you're saying first network outside the norm. What that look like for someone going through that?
It's really, we've really been expressing that for the past 3 years. And I'll just put that timetable on the pandemic. We've been networking outside the norm since this because for those who did not know about Zooms and FaceTiming and WebEx meetings and things of that nature, that is outside your norm. Is for some of us, we'll still continue to start talking and we're continuously on mute. So those are things that we haven't gradually graduated from. But what it has allowed us to do is step out of a comfort zone, which we've been so comfortable to, right? Leaning over and talking to somebody in the cubicle over you, or having those kind of discussions at the water cooler. So now what it is taking you outside of that normalcy where I'm in the office, I can talk to Mary, Joe, and Bob, and we just have this thing. But now you've got it on a global stage. I have friends in other countries. Now, can I say I've met them? Of course not. I haven't traveled to those countries. But we have, over the course of this time, shared so much information with each other and built such a bond with each other that I can call them friend and I'm secure with calling them that. Now, is there a lot of things I don't know about them? Absolutely, because I'm not in their presence and I don't know how they flow when they're not dealing with me. But that's the same as if you know. That's the same if you sit next to Bob every day at the office. You don't know Bob, but the 8 hours that you're there. You don't know how Bob is flowing once he punches the clock and get off. You know how Bob treats his family when he go home. You don't know how Bob interacts in his nightlife. So these are the things that we're constantly being vulnerably put in, but we're safety net in our mind to say, "Oh, I see you every day. I'm safe." That's farthest from the truth. If you go to some statistics, getting tongue twisted. When you go and grab some statistics, a lot of things that happen to people criminally are by people that know them, that know them. It's not a lot of crimes that happen happenstance. They're not. Go check the numbers. Majority of the crimes that you see or that are reported or that are done or that are investigated are by people that have maybe been family members, people that know them, people have had some type of relationship with them, or crime of passion, those kind of things. So when you look about networking outside of the norm, you want to present yourself in an atmosphere of saying, okay, this is what I am. And that is a great premise, Andy, because meta is outside the norm, right? Putting on the goggles, all that. If I'm saying it right, let me know. Putting on the goggles, the Oculus, being in another world, all that kind of thing. That's outside the norm. You didn't think about doing that. Nah, maybe 5. I give 10 just to be safe. 10 years ago, wasn't nobody talking about putting on the goggles, being in the metaverse. If they were, they wasn't in the circle of where it's so familiar now. I'll put it like that because I'm sure somebody thought about it outside of that time frame. But you are in the time frame now to where it's the opportunity. Yes, the opportunity to Facebook. Well, Facebook, yes, the Facebook of that. They wasn't. If they were talking about that, it wasn't talking to the verse over there is now, where it's so everybody's talking about the metaverse, right? At some point in place, everybody's trying to dive in virtual space, virtual real estate, virtual the actors, the stars, the athletes, all of them getting into those spaces. There are extremely vulnerable spots in those spaces because you don't know who you're dealing with. But you balance that with the confidence you have in you. If you're stable in who you are, if you're stable in who you are, if you're stable in who you are, then there's an understanding to say, okay, this is what I'm comfortable with. This is what I'm not comfortable with. And it's not a dive in. It takes time. I didn't get the way that I feel about vulnerability overnight. It took a whole lot of my life to more than half of my life to feel empowered in the way that I think and feel. And I know that anyone that I work with, it's also a work in progress. But networking outside the norm, just bringing yourself to the table to say, okay, it used to be good to get. Remember, we used to go back in the day and say, "I'm gonna get a networking event." Somebody hand you their business card, or you guys have a little office or a little conference room, and you get business card, or you go to there and you introduce yourself and you introduce your business. I never thought that was networking, me from personal sense, because you talked about what you did. You didn't talk about who you are. So to me, networking is talking about who you are. What makes you special, Andy? What do you present to the conversation or discussion? What is so special about you that others need to know? To me, that's networking because now I'm letting you know who I am totally, not who I am as a job, not who I am as a position. Yeah, 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 yeah. Preach, Will. It took Will 55. Yeah, Will, we 55 together. Them double nickels is rough, Will. They were up. They were up. But those are some of the aspects that you can do to network out of the norm.
Yeah, so and as we are learning to do that and we're, just trying to do things differently. Also, you say that there's an intentional
Mm.
conversation that we need to be having as we're balancing our vulnerability and networking.
Yes, there are telltale signs in every conversation that you have with someone that you're networking with. There are telltale signs that you have in someone that you love that they're conversating you with. You just have to be self aware and then understand what's being said. Is that truthfully, or can I identify with that? Intentional conversations are just that. I'm intentionally networking to you to see how we can grow together, or how you have something you can bring to the table that enables my growth, or vice versa. These are the intentional conversations that they're starting to dwindle and funnel themselves in social media. A lot of people are, and I know for myself, at the end of every year I purge. Yeah, not the movie, but my accounts. I purge my
I
accounts.
hope not the movie.
I don't want to give nobody no ideas. You know what I'm saying? They be like, oh yeah, Carl's on some Mr. Vulnerability talking about purge like the movie. No, I just want to say that in the purging of that, what I do is, and this is what I think everybody should do on social media. I think you should detach yourself from those who have not benefited you, or I won't say benefited because that look like that sounds on the verge of user. I would detach myself from anyone that has not helped you grow this year. Not that they don't have the ability to, but they have not poured into you, and they've had a year to do that. Now, does he say you may cut them off too soon? I don't know. We didn't have the right synergy. Maybe collaborations didn't click. Whatever. Yes, I still put them off on list. You know why? Because what that does is that the connection is cut. That gives them an opportunity to refresh and say, "Yo, what was I bringing to the table? What was I bringing? Why did our connection fail?" It also gives me an opportunity to say, what was I not bringing? Why did our connection fail? Now, if there's a new connection, there's a freshness of thought. I can say, okay, let's reconnect. Let's see what we can do later down the year. I'm intentional now. I'm diving into saying, okay, I want to do such and such with you at such and such time. Or let's come back and revisit this in October and I'll see what your schedule's like. Or let's see what's going on in June because we got panels and let's see. This is what I mean by the intentional conversation. A lot of us, especially on LinkedIn, we want to grow the networks. How do we grow that? We hit the connection request. So you're letting everybody into the connection request, which is fine. But at the end of the year, go back through. Connection surf is what I really call it. Go back through and say, yo, that's why I do it through the year too. Let me back up with that. So I do it through the year. I do Zooms with those within my network. I try to get a handle on my network as they're connected with me. I try to see who I may want to have collaborations or conversations with. I'm intentional about them. I don't accept everybody. and that's no knock on anybody. I just don't. I just don't. I don't get the feel. I don't get the vibe. If y'all know what I'm talking about, raise your hand. If you don't, stay silent. But that's what that's what I do. So I'm intentional about it. I was intentional with my conversations with Charlene when we first started. There was intentional things that I wanted to know with her to move forward. There's intentional things I want to know what kind of person she was to see if this was someone that we can do collaborations with. Those are the things you do, and you must do those same things in networking with people. Don't waste a lot of time just getting followers. Get
Mm.
somebody that's going to move you, get somebody that's going to grow you, and get somebody where you're not at. Put that in there too. Because I ain't connect with a lot of people who had 12 followers. And I don't say that to discourage anybody. I didn't connect with them from the basis that I didn't see them live and active. I didn't see them doing things on the platform. So those are the intentional conversations that I tried to have.
I love that. I love that. And while we are working on being more intentional, you're
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
we build relationships through that same vulnerability.
Yes. And that vulnerability gives you strength because now I'm building a relationship that's built on truth, authenticity, and self, us being ourselves. Because I was vulnerable enough to share with you some things that have went on in my life, some things I've overcome in my life. And you shared the same. So now our connection is different than anyone else coming into that circle. So now I feel at a freedom and a liberty to say, oh, I shared this with Carl. He shared this with me. Me and Charlene have shared things that are vulnerable on both sides. But now
Mhm.
we had a freedom to say, okay, I already know what to expect when I share with Carl. I already know what to expect when I share with Charlene. I already know how they're going to be. I already know the space they're going to create when I come in with the issues that I have. That's building that relationship through being vulnerable. You put it out there. The relationships can't build unless someone be vulnerable. I don't know if you ever, they told me when I first got married, don't build your marriage on a lie. So I came clean to my wife with everything I had been through, everything I had done, everything. And I'll say, if you want to leave now, now's the time. We ain't walk down the aisle. Now's the time. So what that did is that put it out there as she's either going to accept me from what I've told her, what I'm no longer doing, and what I'm no longer in and moving forward from, or she's not going to accept me and just go on away. That's how you truly build a relationships. So when I meet with somebody or deal with someone, of course I'll come all out the bag that I was an axe murderer. I kind of keep that to the last thing. But when I do come out with some of those
That's
numbers,
cause for a moment. What you saying today?
I got to keep you guys on your toes. But I come out with things, and now I'm so strategic and intentional with what I share. I hear where you are, and I share what gets you forward. I hear the things that you may be going through that you're stuck in. I hear the ways that you tried to move and they didn't work. And what I do is I go back into the knowledge base, the experience bank, which is what I've been through. And I say, okay, this piece of what tragedy, trauma, circumstance I went through, it'll fit right here. And I share that. That's building up through vulnerability. That's building that relationship. Because now when they have an issue or that problem or they feel like they need an ear to hear, you're that ear. And you're able to build that relationship through a lot of things: love, trust, confidence. The list goes on and on.
Yes, yes. And this is I think all of these are great things, especially
Mhm.
if you are in leadership. You need
Yes.
to be able to say, okay, am I creating this space that allows people to even do that? Because networking doesn't have to be off the job either.
Hmm.
Networking can be while you're working, while you dealing with other teams, while you're dealing with other people in different offices. Maybe you want to make sure that, like, am I taking opportunities here to network with them, to build those relationships with them? What if there's another opportunity somewhere else and they heard about it? They might be able to tell me about it. Like, though, that's how a lot of folks really move around and move up in these spaces. So we have to open up the door to allow that vulnerability and to allow those opportunities to happen. And it's not just a one-sided. The doors have to be open from all areas, all avenues. And that's why so many people are fighting with a lot of C-suiters to say, hey, you guys don't network with people not in that immediate circle. How do you expect to get fresh ideas and fresh blood if you're literally staying in that same pool of everybody that you already know. You're not taking the time to get to know new people and bring new people in. So you don't want to be trapped in that. And that's what part of that's what networking is about, is getting to know new people.
And to add value, add value. This is the key element that we oftentimes miss in networking. We want to network to know names. If we really do. When you look at the aspect of people networking, they want to either network to know names or numbers. That's the purpose of you seeing a lot of networking on social media. How can I gain followers? How can I gain connections? Which one are more important? Those are the kind of metrics that we use on that. But when I think of networking, I'm thinking of value. That's what networking is to me. And I know it's cliche and it's kind of corny to say, and often people say your network is your net worth, right? Yeah, that's corny to say. My network is my value, the value that I have at my fingertips, that if I build relationships with, it will produce fruit for me. It's just like going out there and planting a seed. You can't plant the seed and sit out there and then come back in a couple of weeks talking about, yo, my apples ain't grew. My flowers ain't grow. You ain't done nothing to it. Networking is cultivating. Network is carrying on conversations. Network is seeing what value is on the other side versus the value I think I'm bringing. Because we always think we bringing it when we networking. Oh, I got this, I got that, I got this, I got that. Be surprised when you get into these arenas and start networking with people. Your little stuff looks so little, and that's not a diss on you. That's just a way that you come in thinking about it. I go into every network, regardless of how many shows I've been on. How many? I just did a show at 7 o'clock this morning. I did a global show with the GS. Got to give a shout out to them, to Andrea Sapots. A lot of you may know her. She does a global initiative every year where it's 100 or so speakers on there. And I did a show. My show was at 7 a.m. our time, 7 p.m. Their time because she's in Australia. So those kind of things were something that we talked about: networking, connections, followers. How do people view that? And I told her the same thing that I'm sharing with you guys. I view it as value. What value is there to be offered between us? What can be gained by both of us? What could we do together collectively that benefits all of us? This is what networking is about. It's not me giving you my business card, telling you I'm a coach and consultant, and you buy my services. It's not
Mhm.
networking. It's not networking. You might as well open the store, just stand in there and have office hours.
So with that, I wanted to allow you that space to kind of bring everything together. Like how can we do better and do more as we are entering, especially 2023 is on the brink of being here. So we want to hit the ground running. And what should we be doing to really take this and take it to the next level?
What you should do this new year, and I'm a writer, so I'm going to tell you from the writer's perspective. What you do 2 columns. This is what I was always taught. This is what I learned from people who weren't in school and people in school. You take your pros and your cons of things with you. Or you can say your likes, your dislikes. You can label it whatever you want to label it. And go into this past year and do an evaluation on some of the things you tried, some of the things you failed at, some of the things you succeeded in. Break them down into 2 colors. Important things. Don't just make a list to make a list like Santa's comment. Make a list that's going to be formidable for you. So when you look on that list, there's objectivity there to saying these are the things I was good at this year. These are the things I weren't. And how can I make that list to be one-sided? So what you do with that, you can be vulnerable enough to acknowledge that there were failures this year in my life. There were things that went on this year that I could have done greater. Those things I'm going to attack, whether it's being able to speak. I'm going to learn how to be able to speak. I'm going to elicit myself on shows and podcasts. I'm going to conquer that fear of being seen on video. I'm going to conquer that ability that I have, that I'm an introvert and I don't do a lot of things extrovertly. I'm going to conquer those things. Start small. Give yourself a list. Put that list out and attack things every day. And therefore, you'll start getting more comfortable with being uncomfortable because it'll flip on you. The things you weren't uncomfortable about, you'll start being really comfortable about. And all of that comfortability produces confidence. And you are a very different person when you're confident. Just watch yourself. So those are the things that you do. Get your list. Get your notebook. I'm into notebooks. Charlene tell you all the time. I got plenty of them. I love to write. Get your notebook and start writing down those things. Yeah, Carl, I'm good at this. Make that list. It's right down the middle. Put bad and good on both sides and start working on them. That's the intentional part of you you can develop. No matter what nobody say about you, you know better than you what your weekend, you know better than you what your strengths are. You don't need no poll, no 360 assessment, none of that to tell you. You with you every day. So be real with yourself.
So that is our show for today.
Yeah.
We ended on a very good note. Be actionable in what you're trying to do and what
And
you're
if you
trying to
need help, I'm here. If you need help, I'm here. CarlShawnWatkins.com. Shameless plug. CarlShawnWatkins.com. Definitely come book your clarity session. If I feel the urgency in that, I'll make space for you. If I feel urgency in that what you want to get things done, I got a path and a pattern that you need to follow. Scan right there, book the clarity session. I know I said I had a couple left, but I am all about helping people and I will stretch the space to do that. And I got that. And for those who are going to be seeking it, and I dropped it too, I've spoken to my course maker. So my course will be out, he said, in between the 1st and the 8th of December. So be looking
Uh-oh.
for it in that first week, vulnerability and leadership, the superpower. I ain't say yours. I ain't say mine. I said the. So that's the name of the course. So be looking for that because we're gonna do some pre-launching, and I'm excited. That's why I'm on my roller chair today. I normally don't roll it, but I don't have my rug up to me, so I'm rolling on my hardwood floor. But yes, be able to do that and go do that. Go sign up. Go. I'm gonna get the pre-registration stuff. I got my man John in there. He's gonna help me do that as well. So I'm excited about that. So you guys join in and go check out Charlene as well. And your website hurt. I ain't even gotta tell you. You doing all this year. You doing all this year and you ain't did nothing to your website. Put them little flower pictures in there and put that little stuff in there. Say you're a speaker and you put a picture of a table or a microphone. Yo, get your pictures together, get your website together and transform it. Don't be a struggle site going into 2023. Let your struggles
Amen.
not let your struggles be few and far between in 2023.
Amen. Amen. So let us do this. We are
Yeah,
going to come back to you next week stronger than ever because he's going
yeah.
to have another show all about vulnerability and making sure that it's a superpower. So Carl is giving us all the business this month. He,
This month.
he is schooling us
November.
on vulnerability
Yes,
yet
it's not
again.
no
So
shade month. Vulnerability is November. I mean, November is vulnerability month. So we're gonna be pressing. We're gonna be giving you all of those little excerpts, and these are like precursors to the course. So you'll be able to dive into these on a personal level. Go at your own pace, set your own guidance, and go through that, and just be transformed. That's really what it's gonna be. That's really what it's about. I work with people that do things differently now, and they say, "Man, it is amazing." Before I met you, and that's really not me. That's just me pulling what's already in you. So I don't take no credit for that. That's me moving because sometimes you have to have people push you in a direction that fulfills you. Now, I'd say that again. They push you in a direction that fulfills you because the talent is there, the strength and ability is already with you. But sometimes you lack confidence, motivation, or zeal. And it takes someone to sometimes push you. That's what coaches are for. So the true coaches find that out in you real quick and they push you to success. And that's all I'm about doing.
all right. So on that note, we will see y'all next week.
Happy Veterans Day to all my vets out there. If I missed you in the intro, happy vets. Happy Vets Day.